Hawks fans, I hope you not sleep. I hope you are wide awake because we got breaking news. We got a Hawks update. Now, the Hawks, in my opinion, the Hawks have been wheeling and dealing, and they have completely robbed the NBA. That's right, I said robbed the NBA. But who did we get? Who could it be? I give you a clue. DSGB. Hey, welcome to Hawks Digest, everyone. It's an exciting time. The NBA draft first round is over. The Atlanta Hawks have selected, and we're in this video. We're gonna get all into exactly what happened, break it all down for you. I got your back, just like you guys have mine. But before I get into it, you know I got to do it. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed to Hawks Digest. Really appreciate you guys, each and every last one of you, as we are over 1,800 subs and already climbing to get to 19, and it's all because of you. And if you're not subscribed to Hawks Digest, I'm telling you, this is the place to be. We drop as many updates as we possibly can because we care about not only the Atlanta Hawks, but you guys too. We know you want that timely news. So come on over and be a part of the crew. So let's start from the beginning, shall we? Talking 13 and 22. Now, we already know we got rid of that 22nd pick for Kristaps Porzingis, but something happened in the draft as well. And my goodness, Anzi Salah. At this point in the draft, we were on the clock. We were on the clock, y'all. And I just knew, I was like, all right, here comes the pick. Let's see who it's going to be. You know, there's a few guys out there. There's a lot of options still out there on the board for the Atlanta Hawks. But then the shocking news came from Shams, and I'm pretty sure Walter, in his video, he already covered this. And hey, shout out to Walter, and make sure y'all show him some love as well on his videos too. But the Atlanta Hawks trading the number 13 pick in the draft to the New Orleans Pelicans for the number 23 pick and a unprotected 2026 first round pick, most favorable, not least, most favorable of New Orleans and Milwaukee. Now, this right here is big for multiple reasons. Well, first of all, I was like, okay, so the Hawks, they're going to have me watching this draft a lot longer than I expected, but it's okay. It's fine because at the end of the day, I understand why they took this deal. They took this deal because, first of all, you get an extra first round pick. Next year, we have the pick swap with San Antonio, so it makes sense that, okay, we can at least still have a more favorable pick to do what we want to do, whether we want to keep it, whether we want to deal it. At the end of the day, it still belongs to the Atlanta Hawks. So technically now, we have 2 first round picks in next year's draft. Hey, I'm just saying, Anzi Salah, willing and dealing. And honestly, another reason on why the Atlanta Hawks robbed the NBA, or just robbed the New Orleans Pelicans, should I say, they selected Derek Quin for them. So, sorry, Hawks fans, we did select Derek Quin, but not for us. And we sent him to New Orleans. So, you still was able to make a move, and and it was a rumor going around, because of course it's always rumors going around, but there was a rumor going that the Hawks had a deal in place or a promise in place for the guy that they eventually ended up drafting at 23. And that's this young man right here. This is Asena Newell. Now, I admit, me personally, I didn't do a video on Asena Newell just because, honestly, I didn't think that we were going to select him. But there was a rumor that we were possibly going to select him at 13. The promise, as I say, the pinky promise, possibly. And it was so crazy because the Atlanta Hawks, they still had to make that move with the Pelicans. Are you serious? You're offering me a first round next year, making it most favorable. You're probably not going to be a good team next year. It depends on if everything comes together for the Pelicans. But also, you look at the Bucks. They're questionable as well because Dame Lillard, you don't know what's going to happen with him. Giannis, who knows what's going to happen with them, their whole team. So there is a possibility that this pick is going to work out for the Atlanta Hawks as well in their favor. But I didn't bring you here to talk about draft picks and all that stuff like that. Just wanted to cover it. But let's get into our draft pick, our selection. Again, power forward slash center from the University of Georgia. Again, DSGB. And I say that because he was born in Atlanta, Georgia, but he did move away to Florida, Destin, Florida, but he was born in Atlanta, Georgia. He lived and grew up a little bit in Athens, Georgia. So it all makes sense. And I will say this too. I said before, I want guys who want to be here. That means players, coaches, also strength and conditioning people, hey, front office people. As long like I said about Anze Saleh, because he even cleared that up today as well for everybody. Because I've been hearing Anze Salah, but it is he said that today it is Anze Saleh. So, but the thing about it is he coming in, doing these type of things, like making those deals, drafting players that we possibly need, like a Asena Newell. Again, let's get into the scouting report. 19 years of age, but he'll be turning 20 soon. Honestly, this guy, 6'9" barefoot, 6'10" and a half in shoes, 223 pounds, but he will need to put on some more muscle, add a little bit more size. I admit he reminds me similar of just like a bigger Chet Holmgren. Remember when Chet first came in, he was like 205, something like that, 210. So, and now Asa is bigger than him, but at the same time, I still, once he gets on the NBA programs, you already know he's going to be fine, guys. So he'll fill out. But wingspan, 6'11", near 7 feet. Standing reach is 8.5, almost 8, almost 9 feet. You have a max vert of 36 and a half, and no step vert 29 and a half. Of course, we took him at 23. He was projected to go 21 to 24, so he did fall into his projection, and maybe the Atlanta Hawks seen something in that as well, that he could possibly be there. They took the gamble that he would be there, and that's another reason why we stole, we robbed, we took away, because we got a draft pick and we still got the guy that we wanted, essentially. Now, let's go back to the college times, because I don't want to start rambling. The college times, okay, so he made all his starts, 33 starts, 29 minutes per game, 15.4 points per game, averaging 6.9 rebounds, and 3.3 of those was offensively. So he did do work on both ends. Now, his assist numbers, almost averaged 1 assist, only averaged 1 block, 1 steal, 54.3% from the field, and also 29.2% from the 3-point line. 75% free throw shooter. Not too bad. Now I have a few advanced metrics for those who care about it. Offensive BPM +7, defensive BPM plus 1.6. Now his true shooting 60%. For those who care about the plus minus, normally averages +8.6. Now I want to talk about some of his strengths. I feel like Asena Newell is one of those guys who, for one, I'm gonna give you guys the 4-on-4. If this was the 90s, I would call it the 4-1-1, but I'm gonna call it the 4-on-4. One, definitely an elite athlete, especially for a forward, because this guy, like, again, he has that 36 and a half, that max vert, so he has that bounce. So he has that bounce. He is great in transition. Most of the highlights that I've seen from this guy was transition, rim running, stuff like that. But he can go coast to coast. I've seen him multiple times grab a rebound and take off down the floor like he's Jaylen Johnson. So he does have the ability to take off and run in transition. Excellent in transition, if you ask me. Like I said, he's a rim runner. I would say, like, he runs the floor like a gazelle, almost like a wing, but he's a big. Again, he can play the 4 and the 5 position. He recorded, I believe, 36 dunks on the season, and he was a lob threat on every trip. If you look at his tape, that is true. A lot of times he was a really deadly lob threat for the University of Georgia. Now, number 2, Defense, defense, and switchability. He can switch again. Like I said, he plays the 4 and the 5, but he can switch on some wings as well. So he has that interchangeable type of defensive capabilities. And if you remember and just really just focus on what the Atlanta Hawks have been doing, they have guys like Dyson Daniels who can switch on different offensive players. They have Zaccharie Risacher. Depending on how you feel about him, if you just pay attention to his defense, he can switch as well. He normally switches pretty well, is honestly, and be able to move his feet laterally, and that's what you want. And now you bring in Asena Newell, who can do similar things like that as well. Now, I know a lot of people would have wanted like Danny Wolf. I was talking to a couple buddies and they were saying, "Hey man, I would have took Danny Wolf." And I understand that because they're thinking about the offensive upside that Danny Wolf could have brought right now. But again, I had to ask them, when you think about defense, something that we've been complaining about, now, is he the best rim protector? No, I'm not saying that at all. But defensive upside is what you got to think about here. Defensive upside is what you have to think about. And when you think about it like that, who has the highest upside with the ceiling? I would say it's Asena Newell over a Danny Wolf, even the Max Raynard. When we're talking defense, and that's something that we've been complaining about, a big man that can have that high motor. Speaking of high motor, that's number 3 what I'm thinking about. High motor, high motor, and hustle. That's something that you can get from this man as well. He is a non-stop. I'm talking about he goes, goes, goes. I feel like, does the guy ever get tired? Because he's crashing the offensive boards when he can. He sprints to the closeouts. He talks on defense. You need that communication because a lot of times when the Hawks are giving up points last year, it was lack of communication, not just execution. So he's often credited as well for turning up the tempo, giving an effort on both sides of the floor at every level. That's something else that you want. Now, number 4, I would say, growing his shooting confidence. He's growing in it because first and foremost, he took nearly three threes per game, and that's not exactly a knockdown shooter, but he's willing to shoot. Also, like I said, he's a 75% three-point shooter. Free throw shooter. So he has good touch, and he can still work on that as well. Long term, he can be a pick and pop player, I believe, because it's the program that he's getting with. Again, I want people that want to be here. Asena Newell said he wants to be here. Asena Newell said in his press conference, it was brief, but he said himself that he selfishly wanted to be in Atlanta. Selfishly wanted to be in Atlanta. I want guys who want to play for my team. So again, being from Atlanta, coming home, this was honestly the ideal fit for this young man in his mind. Now, of course, I got to talk good with the bad, right? So, weaknesses. Of course, we know he's not a shot creator or anything like that. He's not the person that you want to go to on the isolation. Also, the man struggles, creating off the bounce and beating defenders one-on-one. So, that's something that he can possibly work on. We have Kyle Korver here who can help him with another thing that he needs to work on, which is his streaky three-point shooting. Now, he got between 30 and 34%, but of course, to be a true be a true spacer on the floor, he's going to have to work on that. But luckily, he's with Kyle Korver, another guy whose jersey he had once before. So that's also something that you love to see. Next, I would say, of course, I mentioned it before. He's going to have to get a little something up top. He's going to have to get that NBA frame. He already has a good frame on him, but he's going to have to get that NBA frame. You feel me? So when I say that, I don't want him to get necessarily bullied by anybody without, adding that strength. And the last thing when I say, like I said, 4-on-4, the last thing I would be saying about the playmaking. He averaged under 1 assist per game, so it's not like he's going to be out there, dishing out passes like a Hassan Yang, somebody that went number 16 to Portland. It was really crazy seeing Hassan Yang, go that high. But at the end of the day, congratulations to him. Portland, I don't know what you're doing. You got like 5 centers over there, or whatever. Now, let's talk about the fit with Onyeka Okongwu. I think, Onyeka Okongwu, he is going to be the guy that can play closer to the rim of, what I'm saying, but Onyeka can shoot the three as well. If these guys can both work on their shot and both be able to consistently knock down a open three or knock down just, a long range shot more often, you're going to get two guys that can switch in and out, and play inside out. That would be a great thing. But also, you can see that Newell, he would be able to stretch the floor as well and be somewhat, on that high side block. When you think about it too, the two together can be switchable and athletic. Where the Hawks are looking to be more athletic, looking to add that length. Asena Newell is going to bring that because Onyeka Okongwu is not necessarily the tallest. I know that people talk about that all the time, but he makes up for it with effort. Also, working alongside Jaylen Johnson. Jaylen Johnson is a point forward. Can you imagine the pick and roll with Asena Newell and Jaylen Johnson? Jaylen's a slashing, playmaking hybrid type forward. Again, like I said, that point forward. And Asa can give him room to operate. He can crash the boards as well. He can defend the 4 and the 5. So you can help in the defense, swap out roles, different things. He can be used versatility. He can use his versatility, and they can use him in a versatile way defensively. I'm just thinking about the things that Snyder could possibly do with this man. And last but not least, of course, Trae Young. Trae Young spacing and gravity. Asena Newell can knock down open shots if once he works on that shot to get it better. I can see, some long term that can be something that can be a threat for the Atlanta Hawks to use against other teams. As far as his lob catching, I told you, he was a rim runner. He's a guy that was catching those lobs, those pick and rolls and everything. So he's going to be a player that can fit exactly with the Atlanta Hawks and the playing style of Trae Young, being able to come off of those screen and rolls and being able to be that lob threat like Clint Capela was when he first got here. But this guy is so much younger and more athletic. And Trae is going to benefit off of this because he's going to be able to run the floor and he's going to be able to control the floor and be able to see everything. So if guys are, are kind of trying to cheat, other guys can be able to eat. So that's how I feel about Asena Newell. But honestly, when you really break it down, is he going to be our center right now? No, I don't see him being our center right now. I see year one him playing. Year one he may be mostly in College Park, guys. To be honest with you, it's not a guarantee that we will see Asena Newell a whole lot. It depends on what happens in free agency and depends on injuries, etc. But I do expect to possibly see some of Asena Newell because he is, still a first rounder. But Jaylen Johnson went down to College Park. And he's always my example because he went down there and he was drafted before Asena Newell, but he went down there and he was able to benefit off of College Park, which is very underrated. I feel like that's a very underrated program we have down there in College Park because they have guys down there and they get them ready. So I think the same thing can happen for Asena Newell. Eventually, I think he can turn into your starting center. If that's the direction that the Hawks want to go, I think they could make that happen with Asena Newell as long as he continues to develop, especially get that shot down, and I think he will be fine when it comes to that. The bottom line is, Asa, he has one of the highest ceilings, I believe, when I just looked at who was left. Now I would have took Fleming too. I'm not gonna lie to you about that, but we've been talking about we need a big. We want a big. We want a big. We went and got ourselves a big, y'all, that we can groom into our actual center and see what happens from there, right? Only thing they can do is what they can do, and they drafted the guy that they felt like was the best fit for the team at the time at 23, and it is Asena Newell. Again, he has the tools, he has the motor, he fits what the Atlanta Hawks do and trying to do, and he fits the timeline for those who care about that, being with a young core. His role is going to be very clear in the Atlanta system. He can be a switchable guy. He can also help out on the weak side defense. Now again, we want to work on that rim protection, but I believe it's there and it has the upside. He can run, he can defend. Honestly, one thing that we liked about Clint Capela was the fact that he could run the floor. This is another guy that can run the floor. and he has the ability to grow as a shooter, something that Clint Capela never developed. So I mean, at the end of the day, you look at it, the Hawks they land athlete with the high upside, Asena Newell, bringing that defense, that energy, that hometown feel to himself, being a Georgia boy, DSGB. Long term, I feel like he could turn into your center if that's what you want to do. If you want to keep a Kongwu, he can play the four. If you want to put a Kongwu on the bench, he can play the five. Jaylen Johnson, you can see sometimes to where you can see a Kongwu, Jaylen Johnson, and possibly Asena Newell on the floor together. But it may be a very versatile and interesting front court, to say the least, in the East. And the Hawks have to make a move because the East is getting a little bit weaker. Okay, you have three superstars or three stars that went down. You had Halliburton go down. You had Tatum go down, who's a superstar. You had also Dame Lillard, who's a superstar that went down. So now is the time for the Hawks to really just make some noise. They're starting right here in the draft. They have a great opportunity moving forward in free agency to possibly still make some moves shake. And you think about this with Porzingis too. You got Kyle Korver, you got Porzingis. Korver, he's already one of the best shooters that's ever shot the ball. You know, it's definitely probably the best shooter. No, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the best shooter that ever put on a Hawks uniform. So you have him, and then you have Porzingis, who's definitely one of the best bigs to ever shoot the ball. You know, especially from deep. He can be a mentor to not only a Kongwu, but now also Asena Newell, possibly helping him with his shooting. It's just something to think about. You never know. I know it's only a 1 year rental, but even if it's just for a year, even if he can just get soak up some of that knowledge from guys like that, I'm all for it because it's going to benefit us, the Atlanta Hawks, in the long run. Guys, sorry to be so long-winded, but at the same time, I had to give you guys my thoughts and the breakdown on our new draft pick, Asena Newell, selected 23rd by our Atlanta Hawks from the University of Georgia. I guess maybe Anzi Saleh got in touch with Terry Fontenot or something and said, hey, man, how you doing? He said, I'm doing fine, man, just drafting Georgia boys. And he was like, that's interesting. I may do the same thing. And it's just crazy how it all works out. But glad to see the hometown kid be able to stay hometown. And, hey, let's see where we go with this, Atlanta Hawks fans. Get excited. We got free agency right around the corner. It is coming up on Sunday. So we will see what the Atlanta Hawks do. Still have our $25 million player exception to possibly use. It was rumored that we possibly may use it to try to trade with Brooklyn to see if we can get Cam Johnson. Obviously, that didn't happen tonight. But we'll see what happens because we still can get maybe Alexander Walker. You possibly can still trade for Cam Johnson if you still want him. I don't know if they necessarily weren't going to do that. But they have the options, and they have until July 7th to make something shake. So be on the lookout to see what happens. And, of course, the deal with Kristaps Porzingis is not going to be official until July 6th. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well. I'm pretty sure that physical or something should have came probably tonight, or you like I said early in the day or something. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure something would have hung up and we'd have heard something about, oh, the deal didn't go through and everything like that. So everything hopefully on that injury front and everything is going smooth sailing for the Atlanta Hawks and Kristaps Porzingis. We will see what happens moving forward. Again, peace and blessings to you all Hawks fans. The Atlanta Hawks select Asena Newell, and I'm out.